So, Mark, we back, man.
Yeah.
We back. So now you got some information for us for this new primary election. What you got for us, man?
Yeah. The first thing I like to talk about with the primary election is that this is not the general election. So when we make choices in the primary election, we're picking who are going to be the candidates at the general election. So we're picking the names that we're going to see on the ballot in November. We're not actually picking the people who are going to be in that office.
When you say picking, are you talking about as far as like the Democratic Party, Republican, and Libertarian? Like in what capacity?
And that's another good point. So the primary election is an election for the political party.
Okay.
So the state is inviting the rest of us voters to decide who will be those candidates that represent each political party.
Okay.
So it really is a party thing as opposed to a general thing, but we all get to take part. Now, the interesting implication with all that is people who vote in the primary election are effectively telling the political parties that, well, I'm one of yours, or at least that's how the party's going to treat you. So once they see that you voted in their party primary, they're going to treat you like a member of their party, and for the next 2 years, which say until the next primary election, they're going to send you, they're going to keep your name on their roster. They're going to send that name out to all the different campaigns of their candidates. And don't be surprised if you're getting a lot of emails and a lot of mails.
I'm getting text messages
and
too.
text messages, exactly, because you voted in the party primary.
Got it. So what happens if I'm Democrat and I decide, you know what, I'm going to just run as an independent? Will they still get my information?
No. So the candidates only get the information from their party. That's why it's important that they quote unquote affiliate with one of the political parties, because the parties can give them some inside information, access to potential voters who will support them.
Gotcha. So when you go to your election post and you go in, you go vote, there's people that's in there that are supposed to be governing what goes on in there. Who are those people and what do they do?
So they actually are volunteers as precinct chairs working for the political party, but they're actually paid when they're working as election judge. That's a role that they have with the county. And that's one of the privileges and responsibilities of being a precinct chair, is running the elections, the primary elections in your precinct, as well as, of course, trying to drum up votes for the party in the precinct. But there are actually a lot of other privileges that come with precinct chair. You can actually be part of what is called the executive committee of your county party. So quarterly, they get together and they decide about platform issues, outreach issues, things like that. The precinct chairs get an official vote at those meetings. Also, they can be automatic delegates from the precinct convention. I know this is going to sound a little weird, but think of the Iowa caucus. So if you know the Iowa caucus, people go, they vote during the daytime, and then they come back at night and they try to pick amongst the political candidates at night. We don't have caucuses in Texas. We have conventions.
Conventions, right.
Exactly. So the party will have a convention at the precinct, literally the same place you voted, the night after the polls close. And the precinct convention is where you select delegates to the county convention. All this is within the political party. At the county, you help decide issues, and then you select delegates to the state convention. You do the same thing, come back to the state convention, decide issues, and help elect delegates to the national convention. And the national convention is, of course, where you see the nomination for president and the speeches for 4 or 5 days on national TV. You're like, how did all those people get there? Many of them started as precinct chairs, and they just kept getting elected to the next convention.
Wow, interesting. I wonder if Barack was a precinct chair. I wonder.
He was a community organizer.
I remember that.
Yeah, so he probably had some of that role as well.
Interesting. Okay. So with these elections coming up, each position have terms. So right now we have a presidential election coming up.
That's right.
So can you expound on this ballot and how important it is to vote this go around?
Absolutely. I mean, so this is where we pick who we would like to be the candidate for the president of the United States.
This is in November.
In November.
Okay.
Exactly. So all you're going to see is kind of the same thing you've seen if you've been watching the news, the primaries in this state, the primary in that state. This is our primary. And our primary is actually part of Super Tuesday, where a lot of states will be actually doing the same thing, picking who the voters will be picking who they want to be the candidates of their political party for president in November.
So from president, from there, what do we have?
Well, we in Texas actually have a U.S. Senate race this year. So we don't always have that. Senators have 6-year terms. So we will see a senator on the ballot 2 of the 3 2-year elections. If you say 2-year, 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 we'll see 2 of them in 2 of those times. And this time, Ted Cruz is up for re-election.
Oh, wow.
So, of course, he's on the Republican ballot, and then those who are challenging him are on the Democratic ballot.
I wonder if they have an independent candidate running against Ted Cruz. Probably not.
There probably will be,
Okay.
but we won't see them until November.
Gotcha.
The Democratic Party and the Republican Party are the only 2 that have primaries in the state of Texas.
Gotcha. From our Senate, we have...
You have the U.S. House.
U.S. House, okay.
Because the members of the U.S. House serve 2-year terms, so they have to be on the ballot every single time we go back to vote. So you'll see in Harris County, you'll see common names, Lizzie Fletcher, you'll see Sheila Jackson Lee, you'll see Pete Olson and some of the others. I'm forgetting the one, Troy Nels, Sylvia Garcia. They'll be on their respective party ballots.
Gotcha.
And then challengers will be against them, also on their party ballot, but also on the other party's ballot.
Okay. And from that, we have precinct chairs and I missed one.
Well, precinct chairs all the way at the bottom.
Right.
So in between, we have state.
Okay, we're on state level, okay.
And so we'll have the state level. Now, we won't have our governor. He is on the ballot in the odd elections, meaning the elections that the president's not on the ballot.
Okay.
And that's by state of Texas Constitution design. So he doesn't want to get caught up in presidential politics. So that's different. But we will have state senators. Half of them will be up for re-election this time. The state house has 2-year terms as well, so they will all be on the ballot. Then there are some statewide officials. So one weird one that everyone always wonders about is the Railroad Commission.
I forgot about the Railroad Commissioner. Yeah, they control a lot, man.
They
From
control a
gas
lot.
to everything.
Absolutely.
Man. So, wow.
So they are our regulatory body, and if you want, what do you mean regulatory body? So the legislature, of course, Texas legislature, they make the laws for the state of Texas, and very powerful. They can touch almost anything that we do as citizens. The state legislature can influence it, but the state of Texas organizes itself around boards and commissions, where the legislature makes the big laws, but they let the boards and commissions kind of fill in the gaps in that law.
Okay.
And the Railroad Commission is one of those, and they regulate oil and gas. So yes, we say railroads, but it's all oil and gas.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
And so one of them is going to be on the ballot this time around. And
Gotcha.
there are 3
So
of them.
I'm trying to remember. I was exposed to that seat maybe 2015. I didn't know that seat it was even there. And so I knew a guy that was running, but I don't know who the commissioner is. Railroad commissioner.
Yeah, the candidate this time is the Republican candidate Christy Craddock. She's running for re-election, but you'll have candidates, other Republican candidates as well as other Democratic candidates. We have the 4th place. That's how they decide their districts. They're called places. But we have the candidates for 4th place State Board of Education also on the ballot.
And we also have some judges coming up as well.
Yeah, so lots of courts and judges, judicial candidates on the ballot. In the state of Texas, every state is kind of different in this way. There are 6 different ways to pick judges in this country. We elect ours. So the people, every single election, get a chance to vote on about half of the judges.
Wow.
So there'll be a lot of judicial candidates on there.
Wow. So we have civil and
Criminal.
Uh-huh.
And the civil cases will also handle constitutional law.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the last candidates that we will see are county candidates. So Harris County has some executive officials that are on the ballot, and 2 of the 4 commissioners are also on the ballot. The county judge, who is not a judge, but rather an executive official and legislative official, they are not on the ballot this time. Like the governor, they're on the ballot in the off elections.
Gotcha.
But we will have 2 commissioners. We'll have the county district attorney and the sheriff. And the county attorney will be on the ballot.
There's one more, the tax assessor.
Yes, the tax assessor. You're absolutely right. The tax man for the county will also be on the ballot.
Wow, interesting. Well, last time we were here, you had a good guide to go by and check out to find out what these candidates and who they are, because nowadays with social media, a lot of candidates are getting real lazy and don't go knock on doors. Where can I find information about these candidates running?
I would tell people there are two good sources. In the primary election, it's harder to find out information than in the November election.
Okay.
Mainly because in the November election, the parties themselves have really helped their candidates to get the word out and get their name in front of voters. But in the primary election, it's all on the candidates. And don't get me wrong, you can go to the party websites. So the Harris County Democratic Party has a website, Harris County Republican Party has a website, and you can find out a little bit of information from the candidates on those. But the best two sources are still going to be the League of Women Voters.
Okay.
Find their voters guide on their website. And then the Houston Chronicle. Now the Houston Chronicle has its voters guide complete with its endorsements. Which, take it or leave it, but at least they explain their endorsements. So at least you have some information to go on.
Good point.
And the Houston Chronicle, it's kind of one of those things. You may not find the information in both. It may be in one or the other. And it just kind of depends on the candidates themselves, who they responded to. Many of them will not respond to Houston Chronicle, but will respond to League of Women Voters and vice versa. So like I said, it becomes a little harder for voters to find out this information.
Gotcha. So you say that they can go to the League of Women Voters and or the Houston Chronicle to find out about the candidates. So what about the judicial candidates? Where can you find them?
Yeah, it's going to be a little tougher
Okay.
because you have so many judicial candidates and not all of them submitted to the Houston Chronicle or the League of Women Voters. So I would start there, but you're probably going to have to do your own legwork to try to find out more about.
It's not making it easy. Nobody's out there vote. Get out there and go vote, y'all.
Exactly. Now, one thing is, we will have on the next episode, we're going to bring in a legal expert to talk us through what each of the courts do.
Okay, perfect.
So that voters can have a better idea of at least what they should be holding these judges accountable to.
Good deal. All right, y'all. Thank you all for tuning in for Blue, Red, and Purple. Make sure and go out to go vote. I'm Robin J. Anderson.
And I'm Dr. Marvin McNeese. Go be you in your community and go vote.